The marriage counselor's office smelled like vanilla candles and broken promises. I sat on the beige couch, watching my husband Wade arrange papers in a folder with the same precision he used for everything. Mechanical engineer to the core. Every movement calculated, every word measured. For 6 weeks, he'd insisted on these sessions, and I'd played along thinking it was his way of trying to save our marriage after discovering my affair. I was wrong. So completely, devastatingly wrong. "Shall we begin?" Dr. Hendricks asked, settling into her chair with a notepad. Wade smiled, not the warm smile I'd fallen for 15 years ago at NC State. This was something else. Something that made my skin crawl even though I couldn't say why. "Actually, I think we're done here," he said, standing. "Thank you for your time, Dr. Hendricks. You've been very helpful." "Wade?" I was confused. "We still have 45 minutes. "No, Mallory, we don't." He turned to the counselor. "Would you mind giving us the room for a moment?" "I need to discuss something privately with my wife." Dr. Hendricks looked uncertain but nodded. "I'll be right outside if you need me." When the door clicked shut, Wade pulled out a thick envelope from his briefcase. The kind lawyers use. My stomach dropped. 6 weeks, he said, his voice calm as a lake with something terrible lurking underneath. 6 weeks of counseling. 6 weeks of you crying, apologizing, begging for another chance. 6 weeks of absolute performance art. "Wade, I don't understand." "Yes, you do." He set the envelope on the coffee table between us. "You understand perfectly. You've understood since the moment I suggested counseling instead of immediately filing for divorce. You thought you'd won, thought I was weak, thought you could manipulate your way back into my good graces." My hands were shaking. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I'd confessed to the affair with my CrossFit coach. I'd cried. I'd promised to change. I'd done everything right. "I love you," I tried. "I made a mistake, but I love—" "Stop." He held up a hand. "Just stop." "We're past that now. Way past that." He opened the envelope and pulled out a stack of papers. Photos, screenshots, bank statements. My affair laid out like evidence in a court case. "Let me tell you what I know," he said, pulling out the first photo. "January 15th, you joined CrossFit Apex. Told me it was for your health, your New Year's resolution. I supported it. $600 initiation fee plus $150 a month. I paid it without question." I remembered that day. Wade had kissed me goodbye and said he was proud of me for taking care of myself. January 22nd. Another photo. Me and Justin after class, him showing me proper form for a deadlift, his hands on my hips. First private training session, $80, also paid by me, unknowingly financing your affair. It wasn't an affair then. February 9th. He didn't let me finish. Screenshot of texts. First flirty message. He said your form was perfect with a winking emoji. You responded with 3 fire emojis and you're the perfect trainer. Tell me, when exactly did you decide our marriage vows were optional? I wanted to disappear. Seeing it all laid out chronologically was damning. February 20th, you bought new workout clothes, $230 at Lululemon, said you needed proper attire for the gym. He pulled out a credit card statement with the items highlighted. Sports bras. Yoga pants, the kind that show everything. Not for exercise though, was it? It was for him. Wade Dash. March 3rd, first lie about wine night with the girls. Another screenshot, this time from my friend Stephanie's Instagram showing her at home that night, alone. You were at the Marriott downtown. Room 412. Paid cash, but you forgot about the parking garage. License plate readers are everywhere these days. My hands were shaking. I'd been so careful. Or so I thought. "Want to know what you did that night?" His voice was ice. "Because I do." Justin posted on his Instagram story. Deleted it after an hour, but screenshots are forever. A woman's hand holding a wine glass. Your wedding ring visible. The caption, "Best cardio workout ever." I felt sick. Actually physically sick. "I've known about Justin for 4 months," he continued. "Since before you even slept with him. Since the flirty texts started. Since the after-class protein shakes that lasted 2 hours. 4 months. He'd known for 4 months. Every night he'd come home, kissed me hello, asked about my day. Every weekend we'd gone to farmers markets and had dinner with friends. Every moment of the last 4 months had been a lie. His lie. Why didn't you say anything?" My voice was barely a whisper. "Because I needed to understand something." He pulled out a photo. Me and Justin at a coffee shop. His hand on my knee. I needed to understand what kind of person I'd married. Whether you'd come clean on your own, whether you'd show any actual remorse. I did show remorse. I've been showing remorse for 6 weeks. No, he shook his head. You showed regret at being caught. There's a difference. He was right. I hated that he was right. I'd only confessed because I'd seen him texting with someone named Patricia and panicked that he was moving on. The confession had been a chess move, not genuine contrition. So what was all this? I gestured around the counselor's office. Some sick game? An experiment, he corrected, and an insurance policy. See, North Carolina is an at-fault divorce state. Adultery affects alimony, but I wanted more than that. I wanted documentation. He pulled out another paper. Session notes. My eyes widened as I recognized Dr. Hendrix's letterhead. She wouldn't share confidential information? Number. But she did agree to document your behavior patterns, your inability to take responsibility, your narcissistic tendencies, your manipulation tactics, all very helpful for custody proceedings. He pulled out a tape recorder from his jacket pocket. Every session, legally recorded with single-party consent. You spent 6 weeks talking about how the affair was really my fault, how I drove you to it by being emotionally unavailable, how Justin made you feel alive and seen. Not once did you take actual responsibility. The recorder clicked on. My voice filled the room. It's not like Wade was meeting my needs. A woman has desires. Justin understands that. He sees me as a sexual being, not just a mother and wife. Is it so wrong to want passion? Dr. Hendrix measured response. How do you think Wade feels about the betrayal? My recorded laugh was cruel. Wade doesn't feel things that deeply. He's an engineer. Everything is logical to him. He probably sees this as a problem to solve, not a heartbreak. Wade clicked off the recorder. You were half right. It was both. Custody, our daughters. 12-year-old Emma and 10-year-old Sophie. My blood ran cold. You can't take my girls. I'm not taking anyone. His voice was maddeningly calm. I'm simply ensuring they have at least one stable parent. The house stays with me. I can prove you used marital assets for your affair. Those spa days? Charged to our joint account. The hotel rooms? Same. The gym membership you insisted we upgrade so you could take Justin's premium classes? All documented. I wanted to scream, throw something, but I couldn't move, could barely breathe. The best part, he continued, pulling out his phone, is that you've been so focused on Justin you never noticed what else was happening. He showed me a photo. Him with a woman I recognized. Patricia from his texts. They were at a restaurant, but it wasn't romantic. There were papers spread between them. Legal papers. Patricia Winters, best divorce attorney in Wake County. We've been meeting for 3 months, building the case, documenting everything. Did you know affairs follow patterns? The texts at odd hours, the sudden interest in fitness, the new underwear, the criticism of your spouse to justify your actions. You hit every single marker. This is cruel, I said. This is psychological torture. No, torture would be letting you think you'd gotten away with it. This is consequences. He stood, straightening his jacket. Always so proper, so contained. I'd mistaken it for boring, safe, predictable. Turns out he was none of those things. "The girls are with my mother for the weekend," he said. "You have 48 hours to pack your things and leave. The apartment you'll be renting is already secured. The address is in the envelope. 1 bedroom in Garner. It's what you can afford on your salary alone." "Wade, please." "Every Wednesday and every other weekend. That's your custody schedule. Non-negotiable. The child support you'll be paying is calculated based on state guidelines. Also non-negotiable. I'll be paying? Did you think being the mother gave you automatic advantage? I've been the primary caregiver for 2 years while you were at the gym. I have documentation, school pickup records, doctor appointment schedules, parent-teacher conferences you missed, soccer games you skipped for work emergencies that were really hotel afternoons. The room was spinning. This couldn't be happening. I was supposed to keep the house, keep the kids, keep the comfortable life while having my fun on the side. That's how it worked. That's how it always worked. Justin won't want you, by the way. Wade checked his watch like he had somewhere more important to be. His girlfriend found out yesterday. Apparently you weren't his only married client. She's pregnant. Did you know that? Due in 3 months. They're working it out, moving to Charlotte for a fresh start. I did throw up then, right into Dr. Hendrick's wastebasket. Wade waited patiently, the way you'd wait for a toddler having a tantrum. Mallory. His voice was almost gentle. Did you really think I was stupid? That I didn't notice my wife coming home freshly showered at odd hours? That I believed the stories about wine nights with friends who hadn't seen you in months? Did you think so little of me that you assumed I'd just accept it? I thought you loved me, I said weakly. I did. God help me, I did. Even after I knew, I kept hoping you'd come to your senses. Stop it on your own. Show me the woman I married was still in there somewhere. He picked up his briefcase. But she's not, is she? Maybe she never was. So that's it? 15 years, and you throw me away like garbage? I'm not throwing you away. You threw yourself away. I'm just refusing to dive into the dumpster after you. He left then. Just walked out, leaving me with the envelope and the mess I'd made of my life. Dr. Hendricks came back in, her face carefully neutral. I think our sessions are complete, she said gently. Would you like me to call someone for you? Who would I call? My friends were Wade's friends first. My family lived in Wilmington, and I'd barely spoken to them in years. Justin was moving to Charlotte with his pregnant girlfriend. I had no one. I drove home in a daze. The house, not my house anymore, was eerily quiet. The girls' rooms were neat, beds made, stuffed animals arranged just so. Wade had always been better at the daily routines. I'd been too busy, too important, too special for mundane things like homework help and bedtime stories. The master bathroom still smelled like my perfume. The expensive one, Justin said, drove him crazy. I'd started wearing it every day, even to bed, hoping Wade would notice. He had noticed. Of course he had. I thought about all the times I'd come home from late meetings and headed straight to the shower. Wade would be in bed, reading his engineering journals, and he'd look up and ask how my day was. I'd give him some vague answer about difficult clients while washing Justin's cologne off my skin. The lies had come so easily. There was the night in April when I'd told Wade I was at a work conference in Charlotte. I'd actually spent the weekend at Justin's apartment, a loft in downtown Raleigh that he shared with 2 other trainers. We'd had sex on every surface, ordered Thai food naked, pretended we were a real couple. I'd taken photos of myself in his bed while he showered, feeling powerful and desired. Wade had been home with the girls that weekend. Emma had a soccer tournament. Sophie had a school play. He'd sent me videos of both, and I'd watched them on mute while Justin kissed my neck. When are you leaving him? Justin had asked. Soon, I'd promised, when the time is right. But the right time kept moving. First, I wanted to wait until after Emma's birthday, then after our family vacation to the Outer Banks, A vacation where I'd spent most of the time texting Justin from the bathroom, sending him photos of myself in my bikini while Wade built sandcastles with the girls. The worst part? Wade had been trying. I could see that now. He'd suggested date nights that I'd canceled for emergency workouts. He'd bought me flowers that I'd barely acknowledged because they weren't as exciting as the protein shake Justin had made me with a heart drawn in the foam. He'd tried to initiate sex, and I'd turned him down, saying I was tired, then sexted with Justin until 2 a.m. In our bedroom, his bedroom now, I found my things already packed. Efficiently, of course, labeled, organized, 15 years condensed into boxes and suitcases. On top was a printed email exchange, from me to Justin sent 3 months ago. Wade's so predictable. Same routine every day. Like living with a robot. You make me feel alive again. Justin's response: "Your husband sounds like a real loser. When are you going to leave him?" My response: "When the time is right. Have to be smart about the money and kids." So calculating. So cold. Seeing it printed out like that, I barely recognized myself. But it was me, planning to use a man who'd never done anything but love me and provide for our family. I found more printed emails. Dozens. Each one worse than the last. Mocking Wade to Justin. Calling him boring, weak, a wallet with legs, laughing about how clueless he was, how easy it was to lie to him. One particular exchange made me want to crawl under the floorboards. Me. "Wade wants to try for another baby. Can you imagine? Like I'd let him touch me after being with you." Justin. "Poor guy has no idea his wife's getting railed by a real man every Tuesday and Thursday." Me. "Sometimes Monday too. Told him I joined a book club." Justin. "What's the book? How to Know If Your Wife's a Cheater?" Me. "He'd never read it." Too trusting. That's his problem. There were photos, too. Ones I'd sent Justin. Lingerie shots in our bedroom. Wade's and my bedroom. While he was at work. Pictures from his business trips that I'd told him were missing you photos, but were really for Justin. The metadata showed times and dates that lined up with family events I'd skipped, school functions I'd missed, moments with my daughters I'd deemed less important than sexting my trainer. March 15th, Emma's science fair. I'd told Wade I had a migraine. The photos showed me at Justin's apartment at 7:23 p.m., wearing the red dress Wade had bought me for our anniversary. April 2nd, Sophie's piano recital. I'd been stuck in traffic. The metadata placed me in the CrossFit Apex parking lot from 6:45 to 8:30 p.m., in our car with Justin. May 10th, Mother's Day. Wade had made breakfast in bed with the girls. I'd been gracious for 20 minutes, then said I needed to run errands. The timestamps showed a 2-hour workout session, on Mother's Day, while my family waited to take me to lunch. Except he'd been reading every word. For 4 months, he'd been reading every cruel word and still coming home to me. Still being a father to our girls. Still maintaining the facade while building his case. At the bottom of the pile was a handwritten note. Wade's engineering block letters. "Mallory, the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. I don't hate you. I nothing you. You're simply a problem to be solved, and now you're solved. Your car payment is due next week. It's no longer on autopay from the joint account. W." I sat on the floor surrounded by boxes and cried. Not pretty tears. Ugly, choking sobs that came from finally understanding what I'd done, what I'd lost, who I'd lost. The weekend passed in a blur of moving boxes and unanswered texts to Justin. Sunday night, Wade brought the girls home. They ran past me to their rooms, barely acknowledging my presence. "We had a great weekend," Wade said, standing in the doorway like a stranger. "Emma's science project is due Tuesday. Sophie has soccer practice Wednesday at 4. You'll need to coordinate with Patricia about pickups on your days." "Wade, can we talk? Really talk?" We talked for 6 weeks in counseling. I think we covered everything. That wasn't real. You were playing a game." "No, Mallory. You were playing a game. I was ending a marriage." He closed the door in my face. My key no longer worked in the lock. The apartment in Garner was exactly what you'd expect for what I could afford alone. Second floor, overlooking a parking lot. Beige everything. The neighbors argued in Spanish through thin walls. The refrigerator hummed like a dying animal. I'd gone from a 4-bedroom house in North Hills to this. From a husband who loved me to a CrossFit coach who wouldn't return my texts. From being a mom every day to being a visitor in my daughters' lives. "How's the new place?" my mother asked when I finally called her. "It's fine," I lied. "Wade called us, told us everything. He said to tell you the girls are adjusting well." Emma made honor roll. "She did? You didn't know?" The judgment in her voice was sharp. "When's the last time you checked her grades?" I couldn't remember. Wade had always handled school stuff. "Mallory, what were you thinking?" "That man worshipped you." "He was boring, Mom." Every day was exactly the same. "That's called stability, sweetheart. That's called being a grown-up." I needed more. More than a faithful husband? More than a beautiful home? More than a devoted father to your children? What exactly did you need more of? Excitement, passion, the thrill of being desired by someone new. Things that sounded so childish now, sitting in my empty apartment eating takeout from a styrofoam container. The divorce was final in 3 months. Wade gave me exactly what the law required and not a penny more. The house sold quickly. He and the girls moved to a new place in Cary, closer to his work, closer to the good schools, closer to his family who'd rallied around him like he was a wounded hero. Which I suppose he was. The good guy who'd been betrayed by his selfish wife. The stable father protecting his children from their chaotic mother. The victim of my narcissism and cruelty. I'd tried everything during those 3 months. Showed up at his office with lunch, wearing the sundress he used to love. His assistant had security escort me out. I'd written letters. Long, rambling apologies swearing I'd change. They came back unopened. I'd even tried going through his mother, who'd always liked me. "You made your bed, Mallory," she'd said coldly, "with that muscle-headed trainer." Now lie in it. Alone, I hope. The muscle-headed trainer was long gone by then. The moment Justin heard about the divorce, about the forensic accountant Wade had hired, about the alienation of affection lawsuit Wade was considering, he'd blocked my number and moved on. I found out later he'd been sleeping with 3 other married women from the gym. I was just part of his rotation, the one stupid enough to think it meant something. I remember the day I drove past CrossFit Apex and saw him through the window, hands on another woman's hips, showing her proper form, just like he'd shown me. She was younger, prettier, wearing a wedding ring that caught the light. I wanted to run in and warn her, tell her what those hands would cost her. But I just sat in my car and watched her giggle at something he said, watched her lean into his touch, watched her begin her own destruction. Justin posted photos from Charlotte. His girlfriend had the baby. A boy. They looked happy. Complete. Everything I'd thrown away my life for had never been real. I was just another married woman he was sleeping with until something better came along. I see the girls every Wednesday and every other weekend. They're polite but distant. Emma asked me once why I'd hurt Daddy. I didn't have an answer that would make sense to a 12-year-old. How do you explain that sometimes adults are stupid? That sometimes we destroy good things because we're bored? That sometimes we don't realize what we have until a very smart man takes it away piece by methodical piece? Wade's dating someone now. An engineer at his company. Janet. The girls like her. She helps with homework and bakes cookies and does all the things I was too special to do. She appreciates Wade's stability, values his predictability, sees his routine as reliability, not boredom. Janet's nice, Sophie told me last week. She and Dad are talking about getting married. Another wedding I won't be invited to. Another life built on the foundation I abandoned. I still go to the gym, different gym obviously, in Garner. No CrossFit coaches who look like models, just regular people trying to stay healthy. I run on the treadmill and think about how I used to complain about Wade's engineering mind, how I mocked his need to analyze and plan everything. Turns out his analytical mind was exactly what he needed to orchestrate my complete destruction. Every move calculated, every consequence considered, every single detail of my downfall planned with the same precision he used to design bridges. He'd built our marriage like an engineer, strong foundation, solid structure, built to last. And I'd burned it down for a fling with a fitness instructor who probably couldn't even spell structural integrity. The game he made me play? It wasn't a game at all. It was justice, served with a precision that still takes my breath away. He'd given me every chance to come clean, to show genuine remorse, to be the woman he'd married. And I'd failed every test, proven every suspicion, validated every fear. Now I live with the consequences. Every Wednesday, every other weekend, every lonely night in between. The game is over. He won. I lost. And the prize he claimed? The life I threw away. The family I neglected. The future I was too blind to value. Wade was many things, predictable, methodical, boring, I'd thought. Turns out he was also patient, brilliant, and absolutely ruthless when betrayed. The vanilla candles in Dr. Hendrick's office had smelled like broken promises, but the promises were mine. And Wade had simply documented every single break until he had enough pieces to bury me with. Game over. I played myself and lost everything that actually mattered.